So, you're running a business in South Africa. It's an adventure, right? But let's be real, the compliance side of things, all that paperwork, can feel like a total nightmare. Well, today we're going to swap all that confusion for some clarity. This is your practical guide to getting business compliance right so you can get back to doing what you actually love. I mean, this is the dream, isn't it? To just focus on your vision, on your customers, and let all the numbers kind of take care of themselves. But here's the thing, before you can confidently hand over the reins, you really need to know what game you're playing. And that's our mission today, to map out all those financial essentials for you. Think of this as your roadmap. We're going to break down all the essential tax and statutory duties. I promise by the end of this, you are going to have a much stronger handle on the financial pulse of your business. Okay, first up, the Business Compliance Challenge. Let's dig into why this stuff matters so much in the first place. This is the question that trips up so many entrepreneurs. It just feels like this giant maze of different forms, different deadlines. It's a lot. So where do you even begin? Well, the answer is actually pretty simple. You start with yourself. Right. Let's figure out which set of rules actually applies to you. See, in the eyes of the South African Revenue Service, SARS, not all taxpayers are created equal. As soon as you can pinpoint your own profile, the whole compliance puzzle gets a lot simpler. It's really just about filtering out all the noise and focusing only on what matters for your specific situation. First, we've got the salaried employee. If you earn a regular salary from a company, this is you. Your most important document is the IRP-5. That's basically the certificate your employer gives you that shows what you earned and how much tax they've already paid on your behalf. All you have to do is add any other income, maybe from a rental property or a side hustle. Next up is the sole proprietor. This is you if you're running a business that isn't formally registered as a company. Now here's the most critical part. For tax purposes, you and your business are exactly the same thing. This does make your tax return simpler, but, and this is a big but, it also means there's no legal firewall. Your personal assets could be on the line if the business gets into debt. That is a huge trade-off you really need to think about. And finally, the director. If you've gone ahead and registered a company, you might be this kind of hybrid. You can draw a salary and get an IRP-5, just like a regular employee, but you can also earn income through dividends, which get taxed at a completely different rate. Getting this structure right is absolutely key to managing your company's finances and your own. All right, so you've figured out your profile. Perfect. Now let's move on to the what. What are the core tasks you need to be doing every single year to stay compliant? It really boils down to a pretty clear, repeatable cycle. Just think of it like a simple four-step loop. It all kicks off with consistent bookkeeping, that daily habit of just tracking where your money is going. If you've got employees, that feeds right into your monthly payroll. Then, at the end of the year, you take all that data and use it to prepare your annual financial statements. And that final report? That's what you need for all your tax submissions. See? One thing flows to the next. Now, a few rules that are absolutely non-negotiable. First, you have to keep all your bookkeeping records for 5 years. SARS can ask to see them at any time. Second, your annual financial statements, they're not optional. They have to be done within 6 months of your year end. Think of them as your official business report card. And finally, remember that tax isn't just one thing. It's a whole mix of income tax, maybe that, provisional tax, and more, all depending on your business. Okay, so it's not just what you have to do, it's when you have to do it. And trust me, missing a deadline is the quickest way to rack up penalties. Getting these dates into your calendar is absolutely critical. So here are the key dates for the upcoming tax season. Provisional tax, by the way, is really just paying your expected tax in 2 chunks during the year so you don't get hit with one massive bill at the end. Your first payment is due by August 31st. If you're a salaried employee, your deadline is October 21st. But if you're a provisional taxpayer, like a sole proprietor or a director, you get a bit longer, until January 20th. And then everything wraps up on February 28th when your second provisional payment and your business tax return are due. Now, for those of you who are right at the beginning of your journey, let's quickly talk about setting up the right foundation. If you're ready to move beyond being a sole proprietor, you'll need to register a formal company. These are the most common options you'll see. a private company, or a PT Limited, that's the standard choice for pretty much any for-profit business. It creates that legal separation between you and the business that we talked about earlier. Now, if your main goal is social impact instead of profit, then you'd register a nonprofit company, an NPC. And as you can see, the setup costs are actually very accessible, and they usually include your initial income tax registration to get you started on the right foot. And the best part? The paperwork to get started is actually really simple. You just need to pull together 3 things: certified ID copies for every director, a proof of address for each director, and 1 proof of address for the business itself. That's pretty much it. Okay, we have covered a ton of ground. We've looked at who you are as a taxpayer, what you need to do, and when you need to do it. So let's bring this all together and land the plane. Look, if there's one thing you take away from all this, let it be this. Compliance isn't about becoming some kind of tax expert. It's about getting clarity on 3 things: your profile, your annual tasks, and your key deadlines. Once you master these 3, that feeling of financial chaos just transforms into real confidence and control. So I'll leave you with this one question. Based on everything we've just talked about, what is the one simple action you're going to take right now to improve your business's financial health? Don't try to do it all at once. Just pick one thing and start there. Thanks so much for joining me.